and we will be very happy to welcome you to the call. So I see people are beginning to pop on. They're ready and eager for the information that we are about to share. And so greetings from Baltimore, Maryland. Welcome, Carla Wynn. Welcome from Baltimore, Maryland. So once again, get in a quiet place. Get in a place where you can pay attention. And right now we have something really special for you. I am not hearing the sound on my video.
I don't hear the sound either, Ms. Omi.
No sound. Well, whenever you aspire to do anything great, you're going to be faced with violent opposition. So this is just one of the many times that we are faced with the technical challenges. I don't know if it's the flashes of the sun or whatever happens that causes things to go cool and crazy. But anyway, let's just go on like we're supposed to go on in the face of any challenges and obstacles. We're going to get it done anyway. We're going to have an amazing, amazing call tonight. We have a very special guest that is going to be presenting. So each and every person that possibly can, put your name and city and state where you're calling into the chat so that I can welcome you. Once again, my name is Laura Johnson. I'm coming to you out of South Carolina. And Jeremy, welcome to the call from Festus. Is that Missouri, Jeremy? Festus, Missouri? Wonderful. Well, welcome to the call. We're so happy that you're here and glad to see you. So as you join in, understand that tonight, this is the Millionaire Mindset Call. And the Millionaire Mindset Call is designed and geared to help us gain an understanding of wealth principles and also success principles. When Mr. and Mrs. Bean created this platform of the Foresight family and the Millionaire Mindset Call, they created something to help us evolve and to grow and to change into people that we desire to be. So it's so exciting that each and every one of you are here. Get ready to hear an amazing presenter. Get in a quiet place. Get yourself something to drink. Get yourself a pen and a pad so that you can take a lot of notes, because you can't remember everything that's going to be given to you tonight, but everything that's going to be given to you tonight is valuable. So make sure that you don't miss out on it. And then, just as a little bit of housekeeping, let's just make sure that any of you that are joining in with us on Zoom, please, please keep your microphones muted, because we want you to remain with us for the entire time, and we want to make sure that we maintain the quality of this call. Now, if your camera ready, we would love to see you on camera. I'd love to see your beautiful faces and your beautiful smiles, and that would be great. But if you're not camera ready, we do understand that you may not be able to be on camera tonight. So continue to put your city and state into the chat, and I will continue to welcome you until it's time for our amazing speaker to come forward. So Rich from St. Louis, welcome to the call. Joe Cohen from St. Louis, please welcome to the call. Great evening, Foresight family. Leslie Johnson out of South Carolina, welcome to the call. Good evening, Addie Carswell from Jacksonville, Florida, welcome to the call. And I see other folks coming in and joining us on the call. Please put your name and city and state where you're chiming in from in the chat. I am just about to check Facebook at this moment and see if we are live on Facebook. I see that we are live on Facebook. So excited to welcome the people to Facebook. If you are on Facebook, please put your city and state in the call so that I can welcome you, okay? And for those of you that don't see your team members, your fellow investors, make sure that you tag them so that they don't miss this vital information. I see Chanel from Simi Valley, California. Welcome to the call, Chanel. I see Beverly from Michigan. Welcome to the call. I see, let's see, I think I got everybody here on Zoom. I see Miss Winey. She's also from Florida. Welcome to the call. And so many others of you are joining in. And we are going to get started in just 1 minute. So this is your last seconds to be able to put your name, city, and state into the chat. And who's ready? Who's ready for the information you're about to receive tonight? Miss Renita, welcome from St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome, Miss Renita. I haven't seen you in a long time. Look forward to seeing you on our next excursion. Alonzo Burbridge, welcome to the call. Welcome to the call. Tanya Sarmiento out of Florence, South Carolina. Welcome to the call. But ladies and gentlemen, it is the top of the hour, and I do not want you to wait a minute longer for the information that is going to be shared with you tonight. The lady that I have the privilege and pleasure of bringing before you tonight, I've watched her over the past 6 years grow and develop as a businesswoman, as an investor, and as a leader. She has a background in makeup artistry. She is a sought after speaker and trainer. In one of her most recent investments, she was able to grow her portfolio to over $500,000. That's $500,000, ladies and gentlemen. She is the recipient of numerous awards, among them being the 360-degree Leader Award, the Master Promoter Award, and the Servant Leader Award. I have to tell you, she is more than deserving of each and every one of these awards. She actually just loves helping people, and she helps them to bring out the champion that she knows is inside of them. And this is just along with the philosophy of the Foresight family, which is where we know you are rich and wealthy before you even do. So it is my honor and my pleasure to bring forward Ms. Carley Guinn. Ms. Carley, are you there?
I am, Miss Laura. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear. Take it away, please.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for that warm introduction and for taking time out of your evening to host the call. You did a phenomenal job, especially with the technical challenges that we had at hand. But you know, winners find a way. So I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please give me some 4 or 5s, give me some hearts, give me some love in the chat from Miss Laura Johnson, another one of our servant leaders. She is always on Crash Camp, always out there doing everything she can to promote that program, to promote the system. And I just appreciate you for your leadership as well. So ladies and gentlemen, obviously I am not our fearless leader, Mr. Sam Bean, but I am going to do everything I can to try to step into, maybe put a couple toes into those shoes, see if I can step into them for just a second tonight and serve the platform, which is absolutely an honor and a privilege. Before I do that, I want to officially welcome you guys, especially if it's your very first Millionaire Mindset call, to the Foresight family, as Laura said, where we know you're rich before you do. Our mission is to help 10,000 families create $5,000 a month in residual recurring income within the next 2 years. So I just want to know, do we have anybody on the line that wants to be one of those families, that maybe already is one of those families, right? And even more so, how many of those families do you want to create? What market share of the 10,000 families do you want to be a part of, right? And I see we have people commenting on Zoom and Facebook. And so thank you for that participation. Please bring your energy, your excitement, your participation to the call tonight. Before I dive into the training, I do have a few announcements for you guys. You definitely want to make sure that you're plugging into the 𝐍�絵presentations. Okay, we have 2 of them happening every single day. Guys, make sure that you're staying plugged into those calls. Make sure you're plugging brand new people into those calls. So that way they can get a hold of that information, right? And they can start earning their 1% per day, 6 days a week, right? And then we have Mr. and Mrs. Bean are actually going to be in Panama this upcoming week with L Green. So I'm so excited that they're going to be there in person, getting all the nuggets, getting all the information, getting all of the updates so they can bring that back to share with us. Guys, so excited about that. And so excited about what's happening right now with L Green and within the Foresight family as well. Okay. And last, but well, actually, I'm sorry. 2 more things. You definitely want to make Crash Camp a priority, okay? If you're serious about adding people to your portfolio, and more than that, okay? If you're serious about growing and developing as a person, as a leader, as a business owner in whatever business you do, right? If you are someone that's looking to just add peace and harmony in your relationships, right? Because you learn how to handle objections. You know, you learn how to handle just doing that agreement drill, right? I can't tell you how many how many arguments, that just nonsense arguments that agreement drill has saved me from, right? Is anybody with me on that agreement drill kept you out of some conversations you didn't need to find yourself in anyways, right? So guys, it's more than just what that call can do and what the GCU program can do for your portfolio. It's about what it can do for you as a person. So make it a priority to be on that call. Obviously, if you're in GCU, in person, camera on, participating, because the more people we have participating, the more powerful the call becomes. The more different people you have the opportunity to hear from and learn from, their takeaways and maybe their role plays that they're going through, right? If we only have a few people that are participating, then we don't have as much diversity and have as much that we can learn and take away from those calls. So definitely make sure you're there. If you can't participate live, then definitely make sure you're watching that replay. That call happens on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. I always have to remember that now that I'm on East Coast time. Excuse me, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. I almost said Pacific, but that's not right either. Sorry, you can see my blue personality color coming out. And then last but definitely not least, right, for all my blue personality types, the people that love to have fun, Cruising with the Beans, July 25th weekend. If you do not have your spot on that cruise ship, what are you waiting for? You definitely want to get with the person that invited you to the call, and definitely go ahead and find out, go ahead and lock in your spot, assuming that there are still rooms available. I will be there. Let me see if you've already got your suite booked. If you've already got your room booked, look, I'm speaking those suites into your life, not just a room, but a suite, right? Let me see it in the chat, right? Say I'm cruising. Let me see that in the chat, right? It also happens to be my birthday weekend, so super excited to celebrate my birthday with some of my favorite people on the planet out there, just letting our hair down, having a great time, but more importantly, connecting with other like-minded people, and of course, our leadership as well. So again, if you do not already have your spot, definitely go ahead and get that information. I believe if you go to foresight-mg.com, if somebody can drop that in the chat on Facebook and on Zoom, I would appreciate you. You can actually find all the details there. Or, of course, reach out to the person that connected you with the call tonight also, okay? So we are going to talk about and dive into edification, ladies and gentlemen, right? Edification and what that means, right? I know that's everybody's favorite topic, right? Edification. Just kidding. I know some of you guys love it and embrace it, and maybe for some of you guys, it's not as easy of a subject, right? Because maybe you're like, feel like it means that you're like putting somebody above you or something like that. And we're going to dive into why it's important, what it means, and all of that exciting stuff, right? So hopefully you walk away from this call with a better understanding of what edification is, how to use it, and how powerful a tool it is when you apply it to your business. So first and foremost, edification starts with your energy, right? What energy are you bringing to the conversations that you're having? What energy are you bringing to the posts that you're putting out online, right? To the comments that you're putting out there. What energy are you bringing to your day? Because it's going to start with that, okay? If I got on the call tonight and I was like, hey, excited to be here on the line tonight. You know, yeah, chiming in on the Millionaire Mindset call, going to do the training. You guys wouldn't be excited. So you'd be like, let me just get off the line right now. I could be watching something on TV, right? How many of you guys would stay on the line if this was my energy level? Right? I wouldn't. I'm just be honest, I wouldn't. I'd be like, it's just Carley. I don't need to, yeah, you know, it's not really even Mr. Bean, so whatever. I'm gonna watch some TV tonight. I know there's something good on, right? But I'm not bringing that energy. Why? Because this call is important, right? This platform is important, right? And you know, that's how I'm edifying this call, by bringing my energy to the call, right? So that's what you have to do. You have to bring that energy to everything that you do. You are setting the tone for every single person that you're working with by the edification and the energy that you bring to every single interaction that you have with them. Whether you believe it or not, whether you see them or not, whether you hear them or not, people are always watching you. People are always listening to you, especially if you consider yourself a leader and you have a team of people there with you. Trust me and believe me when I tell you, even when you think they don't hear, even when you think they don't they're not watching, they are. So what are you telling them is okay with your energy and with your activity and with your edification or lack thereof? Because if you're not edifying, ladies and gentlemen, you are de-edifying by default, okay? So you're creating the entire experience for your prospect or the person that you're talking to, okay? So your edification is going to dictate how much value they have for everything that's inside of the system, from, you know, the opportunity to the Millionaire Mindset call, to GCU, to the events, to the Telegram and Facebook group, however much value you put on those things and however much importance you bring to them, that's how they're going to regard that. Now, you can't control what someone does, but you can control how it's presented to them and whether or not you're edifying it, okay? So let me give you an example. And for those of you guys who maybe have heard this before, just bear with me, all right? And still go ahead and participate. Put your comments, put your answers in the chat. So how many of you guys know who Lori Greiner, Robert Herjavec, Kevin O'Leary, Mark Cuban, Barbara Corcoran, and Damon John are, right? How many of you guys know who that is? Right. They're the sharks from Shark Tank, right? So how many of you guys knew who all of those people were and all of their accolades prior to ever seeing Shark Tank? I think I probably had heard of Mark Cuban. That was maybe it. Okay. I definitely didn't know who Lori or Barbara or Robert was. Maybe I knew who Damon was, but that's it. Okay. So how do we know? How did we know and how did we learn to say, hey, you know what? These are people that we want to learn from. These are people, these are sharp people. How did they create the value for what these people had to say when the show started? Well, they have that whole intro at the beginning that has edification for each and every single shark and what they've been able to accomplish and achieve. Okay, so they edified them at the beginning of the show before it ever started. So that way, when people started to come out and present their businesses, you knew like, okay, well, why should we listen to this person? Who is this Kevin O'Leary? Who is Mr. Wonderful? Why should we even care what he's saying? Because I wouldn't have cared until I knew why I should have value for what they were sharing with us. Okay, so edification is going to show you how much, you know, it's going to show you that person and give a picture to them of why they should have value for what that person is sharing with them. I can even remember times on that show when, because of the edification that show and the sharks sometimes would have, because of that's what was put out there, that entrepreneurs even gave too much away. They had so much value for partnering with the sharks that they actually gave more equity away in their businesses than they would with any other person or any other investor, right? Because they have that much value for what the sharks are doing. Okay. So in terms of this platform, in terms of the Foresight Business Academy, your prospect has no idea why they should listen to or have respect for Mr. and Mrs. Bean or for any of the leaders that you're working with until you edify them and the impact that they've had on your life or the lives of other people, if maybe you're just now partnering with us, right? So you have to set that precedence. That's why it's so important to have that edification, because it's why someone is going to listen to your leader and why they're going to have regard for what they say. And your leader is going to turn back around. If you're doing those proper three-way calls and those proper edification, your leader is going to turn right back around and edify you back, right? So for instance, at the beginning of the call, you heard all of the great things that Laura said about me, right? Which I'll be honest with you, I'm the first one to say that edification makes me uncomfortable to receive, okay? I don't like to write it about myself. It makes me uncomfortable for people to say Ms. Guinn, but I understand why it's important, right? So I just deal with my uncomfortableness because I know it's important for the people that I'm working with to have that edification for me. So that why I can turn around and give it right back to them. And I can pump them up to the person that they're talking to. So that way it's not them pumping themselves up. You notice I turned around and I gave edification right back to Laura, right? Now, we're not making stuff up. We're not, saying things that aren't true. We're taking accolades, accomplishments, things that we've seen or observed that the other person has done or achieved or how they show up. And that's what we're using for edification, right? So again, that's what your leader is going to turn around and do for you when you have proper edification, okay? So one of the biggest reasons people don't edify is because of their ego, all right? I'm going to just let that sit right there for a second. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to cost you. Your ego is going to cost you a lot. It's going to edge your goals out. I've heard some people even say edging God out, right? When you're making it all about you, there's no one to support you, right? When you don't edify your leader, they can't turn around and say anything good back about you to your prospect, because why would the prospect listen to them? Okay. They can't do any kind of, they can't lift you up at all. And I can tell you right now too, that's what's going to keep you from having opportunities to serve the platform, because you can't serve the platform when your ego is in the way. So you can't edify other people. You can't edify the platform. You can't edify the system, right? Because you want to make it all about you. All right. So guys, try to set that aside. I promise you, your bank account and really every part of your life is going to thank you for just setting that ego down for a second and adding this edification in. People will do more for you. It will open more doors for you. It's going to serve you in the long run to edify and uplift other people, whether it be the people that you're working with, your leadership, everything inside of the system. Okay. So edification is a part of providing and protecting for you and your leadership and your prospects, okay? So what do I mean by that? Well, when you get started, your leaders are providing and protecting you by guiding you step by step within the system, what to do, making sure that your people are not added, or that they're added to the right platforms, making sure that you know all the calls, where to find the information. They're providing and protecting for you. So you want to turn around and make sure that you're doing that for your people, because they don't know where to go, right? They're brand new. They don't know what Telegram group they need to be a part of, what calls are happening when. They don't know why it's important to do certain things, or why it's important to edify. They don't even know what that is. So you have to show them the way, right? But again, that first example is how you handled the exposure that they had when you were introducing them to the platform, to the leadership, okay? But it's so important to make sure that you're providing and protecting for your people, making sure that you have proper edification done for your three-way calls, and staying plugged into the groups. Guys, if you're not making sure that your people are in the right Telegram groups and in the right Facebook groups, again, they're missing out. They're missing potentially key information. Don't have it be you that is the last that's the last line of defense for them, to make sure that they know what they need to know. Make sure that they have access to the information firsthand by making sure that they are in the right groups, okay? So again, when you properly edify your leaders, you're providing and protecting for them as well, right back, okay? So they have provided and protected for you. You're doing that for your prospects, and you want to make sure you're doing that for your leaders. What do I mean by that? Well, you're providing them with the tools to go to war for you, and protecting them from people who are just trying to waste their time and yours. I personally don't let just anyone take a spot on my leadership's calendar. All right. I'm going to make sure that I vet this person before I just allow them to take a spot on Mr. and Mrs. Bean's calendar. And when I do allow someone to go ahead and, okay, let me book a three-way call with them, let me get this call lined up, I'm making sure to set the expectation and set the tone with that person. Okay, you want to come to the call prepared. Make sure that you have seen this, listened to this, that you have your questions written out. We're only going to have maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So I want to make sure that we maximize it. If by chance something happens, an emergency, and you cannot make it to that call, I need you to give me 24 hours notice. I need you to call me and let me know right away, because I have other people that want to book that time, but I set it aside for you, right? You want them to think that they're getting ready to get onto the call with like the president of the United States, okay? With like a king or a queen, right? They want to have that much value for their time. So that way they're showing up on time. They're showing, which is actually early. They're showing up on purpose. They have a pen and notepad ready. Make sure that you're inspecting what you expect with that person, okay? So that way that person comes to the call with the right energy and the right edification for your leadership. And I promise you, it's going to serve you in the long run, because again, Mr. and Mrs. Bean are then, or whatever leader you're working with, not just them, but because you want to make sure that you're edifying your leadership as well. I know this person might be somebody that you know from college, or, you know, might be somebody that you've known for a long time. Maybe it's a family member or a friend, but I promise you, if you just set that aside, right? This is business. Set how you guys move when you guys are going out as family or friends or whatever. That's family friend time, okay? That's not business time. When it's time for business, show up and be on point and be business. You hear Mr. Bean talk about all the time how, you know, his mentor that he's had, you know, they had a personal friendship, relationship, whatever. And when they were hanging out as friends, it was like, hey man, you know, whatever nickname they call each other or whatever. But when it's time for business and when it's lights, cameras, action, he's Mr. So-and-so. Right? That's how you want to make sure that you're treating this, okay? That way, again, your prospect knows and has that expectation. I remember the first time I was at an event a long time ago, and I heard someone refer to the leader as Mr. or Ms., and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like it just took me back, like, oh, hey, this is somebody I should really have a lot of respect for. But I wouldn't have felt that way, and it makes me uncomfortable to even say it. So I can't even say it. I don't even, when someone says Mr. Bean's first name, I'm like, who? Because it just doesn't even come into my brain. I just don't even know him like that. Like, I don't know him as that because I've never allowed myself to call him something different. But for the sake of the call in this moment right now, if somebody would have introduced him as SB or with his first name, the impact it would have had for me would have been different. And I would have hated for something that simple to rob me from the level of respect that I have for him in the beginning, simply because someone didn't want to call him Mr. Bean instead of by his first name or instead of SB. Because I'm just telling you the impact that it had for me personally. If anybody, you know, knows what I'm talking about, maybe they had a similar experience, let me see it in the chat, right? Because when you say Mr. Bean, I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Because the only place I had ever been where you call someone Mr. or Ms. was like in school, the teacher, right? Or if someone's a doctor, you're calling them Dr. So-and-so, right? But it just, I feel like if I wouldn't have had that type of introduction because somebody's ego got in the way, it could have possibly robbed me of having that much respect and regard for Mr. Bean and Mrs. Bean. And so I'm so grateful that the person that introduced me was able to set their ego aside so that I could have that level of respect immediately, instead of it having to come down the line and maybe I miss an opportunity or I miss you know, having having access to certain information because my level of respect wasn't as high. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's all about that environment and that edification that you set, okay? Again, think about soldiers going out to war, right? If you had soldiers that you were sending out to battle, would you send them out there with no armor, with no weapons, with no protection of any kind, right? No, you're going to send them out there with everything that you got, right? Armor. You're going to send them out there with weapons and tanks, right? You're going to send them out there fully loaded, ready to go. Well, if you don't edify your leadership, if you're not edifying the system, if you're not edifying the platform, the environment, the community, that's what you're doing, right? You're just sending it out there and sending those people out there with no way to really serve you or help you or protect you. right? The system's not going to do anything for you if you don't edify it, right? So those are just a few examples of providing and protecting. And again, why that edification is so important, and all the layers of everything that it does, right? It's not as simple as just an introduction for a three-way call or an introduction for someone getting on the call. Edification is everything that you do and say, and it's all the non-verbal things that you don't say, right? But people see when you're with them in person, or they don't see, right? So again, edification is not just for your leaders, but it's also for the system, the services, the opportunities, and the environment that we're a part of. So it's across the board. You want to bring it to every single thing that you're doing. And I would encourage you to bring it to just your daily life. You know, who can you uplift, right? What value can you bring to the other environments that you're a part of? It's so awesome, because I was actually having a conversation with my boyfriend earlier today. He got a brand new job, and he's in sales. And he said to me, today was his second day out there selling. And he said, I got a couple that's coming back in, and they're going to be buying some furniture, blah, 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 blah. But he said the guy that introduced me to them, to let him know that, hey, this is who you're going to be working with, man, he did a great edification. So he set me up to slam dunk this sale. And so you're talking about people are using this in other businesses, in other walks of life. Why? Because it works. Okay. So again, he's brand new, and you got somebody introducing him, saying all the accolades and everything that he brings to the table, because he knows that's going to help him to set him up better for this couple to work with him and to receive the information he's sharing, even though it was just his second week, right? Second day on the floor selling, but his second week being in that company. And so guys, think about, again, how you can use these tools in what you're doing. And if you create that habit outside of this platform, it's going to come over into this platform. And I'm telling you, it's going to serve you well, because that's going to stay with, my boyfriend. Reggie's not going to forget that guy edified him. Right. So again, it's going to set him up for success, for how Reggie thinks about him in the future, because of how that guy set him up for that sale. So again, it's going to serve you in so many ways when you bring edification to the table and when you apply it to everything that you do. But let's talk about the system, right? So again, I just have to give thanks and gratitude for Mr. and Mrs. B for creating this platform, creating this community, and for having the goal to help 10,000 families create $5,000 a month in residual recurring income. Again, they've already created and generated wealth for themselves. They could just walk away, and I'm sure it would be less stress, less responsibility for sure. And they could just continue building their wealth across different platforms or different investments and so on and so forth, and just be living their best life. But they said, hey, you know what? We have a bigger purpose than that, because we want to help all these other people's lives to be impacted and improved. And I'm just so grateful for that, because how many other people out there who have gotten out of their situation, who have created wealth, who've created millions of dollars, have said, hey, you know what? I want to create a community where I'm helping other people to do that as well. And I guarantee you that all the other people that I've seen do that, they want to charge fees to do that, right? We get to be a part of this community simply because we are a part of one or multiple of the different investments that are available to us, right? Which ultimately makes us money, okay? But other coaching programs, other people out there who are providing this type of information, they're charging you $300, $400, $500, $600 a month to be a part of programs, thousands of dollars. I know there are people who've actually invested multiple 5 figures to be able to have like one-on-one coaching and mentorship from Mr. and Mrs. Bean. And we get access to the platform. We get access to their knowledge and information simply because we're a part of the investment, right? So there's so much a part of this system. You have GCU, which again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not edifying it and you don't participate and you're not showing up, things like that can go away, right? Because if someone doesn't have value, if this system in the community doesn't have value for what's inside of that, why should we keep getting access to it if we don't value it, right? The millionaire mindset calls that happen every single Monday night, right? Crash camp calls on Saturday, the mogul weekend events, all of those things inside of the community. You want to be edifying those things. You want to be talking about the value that they bring to the table, right? Again, for those that maybe, they're not in position to participate in GCU for whatever reason. I know a lot of people have been going through a lot of things. You can still participate on the crash camp calls on Saturdays, right? Tune into those live. Be present on the millionaire mentorship calls live, right? Make sure you're at those mogul weekend events. Again, that's where real connection and relationships start to build and unfold and happen, where you might be privy to conversations or different nuggets of wisdom that you're not going to get if you're not there. For those of you guys who were at the last mogul weekend experience, right? That was so impactful. I remember hearing some of you guys share. I've seen the video, and it was absolutely amazing. If you were there, go ahead and put it in the chat, how impactful that was for you, or something that you took away from the call. Go ahead and drop that in the chat. Let us see. Right. Again, I know from the very first mogul weekend experience, I know it was extraordinary. Everything that Mr. and Mrs. Bean do, they always look to create amazing experiences for us to help us expand our vision and our dreams. But also, again, it's about the community that is created, okay, inside of those events. So you don't want to miss them, and you want to make sure you're promoting them to the people that you're working with, because that's where they're really going to have growth and transformation, is at those events, being present. Okay. And then let's talk about Elle Green, right? Elle Green is killing it. I remember Mr. Bean said on the State of the Union call, he said she's that girl next door, right? You've been just kind of overlooking her, but she's been there all along. And I'm like, yes. And I just love that it's based around royalties, right? So it just makes it like sports is not going anywhere. Sports betting is not going anywhere. So the fact that we can earn royalties, get that 10% bonus when people are getting started, and then earn that 1% per day, 6 days a week on our own investment, and have that continue to grow, is amazing, right? And I love that we're able to still have a team building aspect to that. And now they've added more benefits to the platform, more things in there for more ways for us to earn money. I just love that. And again, I love that it has just been steady and tried and true this whole entire time. And again, sports betting is not going anywhere. Soccer is not going anywhere. Football. It's not going anywhere, right? So I just love that we have access to something so unique and so different that we get to participate in, that is bringing all of that value to the table, right? So again, though, it's how you think about it and how you edify it to someone else that's going to determine whether or not they want to take a look, okay? So within that environment, within this system, within the environment, again, where else can you go that you have leaders that are looking to help you create 8+ monthly 5 to 6 figure streams of passive income? Prior to meeting Mr. and Mrs. Bean, I had never met anyone, and I have known millionaires and multimillionaires throughout my life, been in environments like that on and off many times. None of them ever offered to help me create wealth for myself. None of them ever said, hey, what can I do? Like, hey, do you want to know how I've generated this? Or, hey, I'd love to help you and show you how you can do this also. Nope. They just continued living their life and enjoying their lifestyle. And, you know, hey, I'm not mad at them. It wasn't their purpose or whatever, but I'm grateful for Mr. and Mrs. Bean saying, no, we don't want this just for us. We want to help all of these other people, right? But with that being said, guys, we have to support the leadership. We have to support the things that they're putting in play in the system to be able to provide this environment for us. If we don't support it, it just disappears. It goes away. And I don't know about any of you guys, but I don't want it to disappear or go away. Right? This is my family. This is my community. I love that because of this platform, I've connected with and know people literally all over the globe who are like-minded, who are looking to grow, who are looking to add value to things that they do, to people that they're connected to. And I'm so grateful for all of the different investments that Mr. and Mrs. Bean have brought into the platform for us. And I know that this is just the beginning, right? This isn't the end. This is just the beginning. And so if we don't support the vision and we don't support the leaders, if we're not supporting the mission and believing in that vision and believing in that mission, then again, you're de-edifying it, right? You're part of why you are adding to its death, not its life. So do you want to be a part of breathing life into something that is adding value for so many people? Or do you want to be a part of tearing it down? Because that's what we're doing, right? When we don't promote, when we don't support the vision and the mission and really help to get that and bring our energy to the groups, to the calls, to the platform, then to the people that we're talking to, guys, there's people out there that are hurting. They need this platform, right? They need hope. They need something to be able to believe in. They need people to uplift them and encourage them. Right? But if we don't support the leadership and we don't support the vision and we don't support the mission, then that doesn't happen. Right? It takes more than just one person. It takes more than just Mr. Bean, than just Mrs. Bean. Right? It takes all of us. We all play a role in the system. We all play a role in the vision and the mission. Remember, I asked you, what percentage of the 10,000 families do you want to impact? I think it was Laura I saw, she said 20%. I love that. I love that. Yes, I'm with you, right? I want that number to be huge, right? Because then I know that there's people out there that are grateful that I stepped up and shared something with them. Like I'm forever grateful to the person that shared the platform with me, which is how I met Mr. and Mrs. Bean, right? So inside of that as well, guys, you have to be patient in the process, okay? So, you know, I know life happens. I know different things have happened, but guys, you have to trust the process and be patient in the process, right? People who invested in a 401k and different stocks and different other investments, they don't expect to be rich overnight. And those 401ks and all those investments, they do like this too, right? And some people have just totally lost theirs. What about banks that have just closed and people just lost their money, right? Because the bank just closed, right? It happens. Things happen, but you have to trust the process and you have to have that patience to know that ultimately our wins are going to outweigh our losses, right? And if you stay the course and you stay plugged in and you follow the advice and make sound investments and don't invest things that you're not willing to lose, then you're not going to find yourself having a personal emergency and being frustrated in the process. Because I'm telling you right now, I would venture to say, and nobody has to raise their hand or say anything, okay? But people who invested in different platforms that we've had that didn't invest things that they couldn't lose, they're not panicked, right? They're not shaken because they didn't they followed that advice, right? They took money that they were able to invest, and they made other investments, right? They took a chance to grow their money. They made a sound decision to grow their money. But again, sometimes things happen, right? But I know for myself, my wins, my plus column is 1,000 times higher than my lost column, right? Because of the investments, I know for me, I've been able to do things I wouldn't have been able to do, accomplish things I wouldn't have been able to accomplish if it wasn't for that. And most importantly, I learned, right? I learned what things to look for, what things to watch out for, what I'm comfortable to invest, what I'm not comfortable to invest, right? Hey, this platform is for me. Hey, maybe this one is not for me. I've learned to identify and make those decisions and think for myself. I've learned, because of the system, because of our leadership, how to think when it comes to investing for myself, not just listen to what someone else said and do what they said, but to think for myself, how to evaluate an investment, what questions to ask when I'm looking at something, right? I didn't know that before because I hadn't been exposed to a lot of investment opportunities, right? Now, maybe that's just for me, but I'm just saying that's something that I learned, right? So again, you have to trust the process and stay patient, right? And stay loyal, okay? People that are loyal, and I'm trying to remember verbatim. I shared something yesterday, it may have been today, on social media. I saw something that said, you don't really know someone until you go through something with them, until you travel with them, which that's so true. You learn, hey, these friends I can travel with, these family members I can travel with, these ones, not so much, right? I see you guys shaking your head. You know what I'm talking about. But, until, and some of the other things it said is that you don't really know someone until money is involved, until you go through something together. And that's so true, right? And so when we go through things, that's where we have the opportunity to show the character of who we really are. And that's where Mr. and Mrs. Bean can see, hey, you know what? Who really are our ride or die people? Who are the people who are really here in the good and the bad and the ugly, right? Those are the loyal people. Those are the people that they know, hey, you know what? You're in the trenches with us. And those people, when you show yourself to be that kind of person, when you show yourself to be someone that's loyal, that comes with favor. And for people who are really, truly loyal, that's not why you do it. But it's just a gift that comes along with your loyalty. I'm so grateful that I saw Mr. and Mrs. Bean be those loyal leaders, be those servant leaders, be that example. I watched them. Remember, I told you, even when people don't know, even when you don't know people are watching, they are watching. Long before I ever got to work directly with them, I watched them. I saw they were always the first ones at the meetings, the last ones to leave. They were always the ones that I saw pouring into their team members. I saw they were the ones that were doing what they could to serve the big team, to be able to be there for their leaders, always keeping an eye out, watching out for their leaders to see, do they need something? Do they have their back? Are they being protected? Because sometimes at some of the big events, people would be flocking over there like they're celebrities. So it's like, hold on, I got to make sure my leadership is good, because I saw them be that example. That's how I knew to do it. And I did it because I saw them do it. So I wanted to be that person for them to say, hey, you know what? How can I serve? What can I do? How can I help? Right? And because of that, I'm just telling you, I've been truly blessed. And I don't say that I don't say that to toot my horn. I say that to say that's you as well. If you choose to be that person that steps up and serves and is loyal and is there and is truly there because you're pure of heart and you want to be there because that's just who you are, not because of something that you're looking to get, right? So again, that comes to you if you are that person. And I hope you guys know the level of leadership that we have access to and how much Mr. and Mrs. Bean truly love and care about us. I believe with every bit of my heart that they're constantly looking for how they can help us to grow our wealth, how they can provide more value to get more of us to that goal of $5,000 minimum per month of residual income, and how we can all make, how they can be a part of helping us to make our lives better. We really truly have access to the best of the best leaders on the planet because they love us so much and care about us so much. So my question is, are you promoting it like that? Can people feel that when you're talking about them? When you're talking about the system, when you're talking about the different platforms, when you're talking about El Green, do people feel that from you? Right? Or is it just like, well, yeah, yeah, I'm part of this investment club. Like, it's cool. Or are you nonchalant with it? When you think about companies like Hermes, Apple, Louis Vuitton, they protect their brand fiercely. And that's because that's how they create extreme value. Right? You never see Louis Vuitton on sale. And don't even try to, like, there's actually an Hermes store at one of the malls here where I live. And I started to go in there like I was just going to see a Birkin like sitting out. And I'm like, oh no, wait. They have those in the back. Because actually, I think it was Reggie said to me, baby, you want to go in there and like see the Birkins? And I'm like, they don't have them just out. Like, they act like they're not even there. Like, you have to be invited, that you have to build relationship with Hermes before you even qualify to buy a Birkin bag. So like, think about that for a second. You're going to make me go through a relationship building purchase history situation before you even will allow yourself to take my money for these 15, 20, 30, I've seen them even up to $100,000 purses. You mean I got to qualify to buy a purse? What? But yet we won't qualify people to be a part of our platform. Right? They're making people straight up qualified to be able to buy a purse. But we'll just give people access to our leaders and our system and our platform just like it's nothing, right? But it's because they have so much value. They want to make sure that their brand is protected. And so they have to set things in place to protect it. So we have to have that edification for our leadership, for our system, for what we have our hands on, for the community that we're a part of, right? For our investment opportunities, so that when people get access, they feel like they just got their hands on something so special. It's only because of the edification that people even have that level of value for those bags. I mean, it's a pretty bag, and I'm sure it's high quality leather. It's pretty, but if somebody didn't make it a big deal for what it means or how it's edified, would I even care? And I know the gentlemen on the line are probably like, what is she talking about with these Birkin bags? I'm like, let me think about an example that would work for y'all. I'm not sure, but what that would be. But if y'all have ideas, put it in the chat. But hopefully you know what I'm talking about with the Birkin bag. But I'm just saying, you know what Louis Vuitton is? Oh yeah, PS5, right? When everybody was like fighting over these PS5s, thank you, Sarah, for that. You know, it was like you couldn't get one. That first year they came out, it was like you couldn't get it. It was like you had people selling them for thousands and thousands of dollars. And why? Because of the edification that was put on the system, right? Or Super Bowl tickets, or tickets to the finals, right? It's the edification that's put on that experience, right? Now, do y'all see why edification is so important? And it doesn't just apply to this platform or this system or these leaders. It's across the board. If you really look, you'll find all of the areas in life where people use edification to add that extreme value to whatever they're talking about or whoever they're talking about. And that's why people want access to those things, access to those events, the ability to be able to work with that person is because of the edification. So if you take that to heart and apply that edification to our system, to our platform, to our leaders, you'll be amazed at what will happen, not just for you, right? But again, it's going to be that domino effect. What will happen for everyone inside of the platform. Again, I saw it happen in the very first opportunity I was ever a part of with Mr. and Mrs. Bean. It wasn't just what one person did in the events, on the calls. It was that everyone collectively had a level of edification for Mr. and Mrs. Bean, for the opportunity, for the leaders that we had the opportunity to work with. It was that everybody had a pen and a notepad. Everybody dressed a certain way to the events. Everybody was lined up early, fighting over who could sit in the front. Like it was like the edification was so high and was so on point, and it brought everyone's experience to a higher level. If you guys were in that opportunity with us, let me see it in the chat. You know what I'm talking about, right? It was like, that we set the tone for the culture for everyone. So are you setting the tone? Or again, are you taking away? Are you adding to the platform or are you taking away? Right? If we all collectively apply these principles and we all collectively have that extreme level of commitment to edification for our leaders, for our system, for our services, for our opportunity, then it's going to really rise the tide for every single person inside of the platform. All right. So hopefully, again, you guys took that and take it to heart and apply it to the platform. I just want to say thank you once again to Mr. and Mrs. Bean for creating this platform for us, for caring so much about impacting our lives and really helping us all to become millionaires as well, that you didn't just walk away when you could have. You didn't just work on yourself and building your wealth like you could have. You said, nope, I'm going to stay committed to my purpose. I'm so grateful to you guys for that. And I'm so honored and grateful that I had the opportunity to serve the platform tonight. And pray for safe travels for Mr. Bean traveling home. Again, I thank you guys, and I hope that you have an amazing rest of your night. It has been my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to serve the platform tonight. I will look forward to seeing you guys at the bank and on the beaches of the world.